Wakey, wakey. It's your favorite couple, David and Sharon Lucas. I'm going to tag my Bill ID Coin. Well, we just woke up this morning, really, got it in, not to put we do want to put our business out there. And the reason we're doing that is I always give the purpose of our videos. What's the purpose? Do you know that now?
The purpose is because we had a mutual couple that we knew, and they were like the greatest marriage couples you looked up to them,
in our
basically.
Mind.
And they got a divorce, and it blew our mind. Yeah. Like, you're like, what happened?
We were sad. Like, we was one of their kids. Like,
right.
It was very sad.
And so, talking and contemplating, we were like, we need to come out with something. Because a lot of people that we've known,
right,
that we thought were happily married, end up getting a divorce. And we're like, well, what happened? Like,
yeah, people are really suffering in silence. And everybody wants to, just keep secrets and hold stuff in. And I think that's true for any area of your life. But since Sharon and I are strong in this area of marriage, it's actually turned into a little movement for us. Like, we got an IG page. Converted my Facebook page into the marriage page. We felt that strongly about that couple. Like, we really love them very much. And they probably don't even know we love them and looked up to them like that.
Right.
Well, we really did. Right. And we really do. Like, even as individuals, we really do. We haven't got the opportunity to sit down and talk to them and see, kind of what happened, but it don't matter. And there's always a chance to get back together, too. It could happen for them. Well, today's topic, of course, is marriage and money. Marriage and money. Marriage and money. We want you to stay on top of your finances. Even if you're single, but you got to stay on top of your finances. So that's a very vague term. What do I mean by that? I mean, you have to think about your money. You have to have emotional control over your money. And when I say emotional control, I mean, when I go to the store, there's a reason why that candy that they put it right there. It's really because they want that last little couple of dollars out you. They want you to bring, they're playing on your emotions and they're playing on your addictions. So we talked about addictions before and how that can really cave your money in.
Yes, gambling and
drinking, alcohol.
Right.
And we're gonna do our work. We're gonna do our work because we're putting this into, I guess, space and time. And it doesn't matter when you watch it. Or what you get from it, as long as you get something from it, So we're going to do our work because I know, like, a lot of times that I watch stuff, the people that I watch it for, they don't know that I'm watching it. They don't know that I'm gaining a perspective, insight, or some actual things that I can do, some tools that I can use. They don't know. All they know is, all I know is I turned on the video and I watched. But finance. So we talked about before, should the man work? Should the woman work? If the woman makes more money, like my wife did for many years for our marriage, how should the man feel? So I mean, as far as that, if your wife is making, 6 figures and you have to take on the responsibility of making not just the money or just watching the kids or cleaning the house, you got to acquiesce.
Right.
You got to acquiesce. You just got to, get done what you got to get done. Because, I know people, I literally know a couple right now where the woman is a 6-figure income earner, like how we were almost. Mm-hmm. And the man stays at home.
Right.
And there is no gender role. And they got a crib, you feel me? Like, she is the provider.
Right.
And she loves her husband.
They do a good job. Like, I mean, he enjoys taking care of his kids. Right. Far as what we could see, he never complained, and he was on top of it. I mean, he had a little event scheduled for him, and
take him to the zoo.
Yeah, he was on it.
He was on top.
And that's like so Mr. funny how we connect with each other because we did not discuss this before.
But you don't want them all.
So that was inspiring. I'm like, well, look at him. So I think what happens is, and this is how you're going back to your upbringing and how you raised up,
right.
You'd be surprised of how your culture and your upbringing influence the person you become in your marriage.
True.
I mean,
very true.
It does, because if in your marriage, if your role was to play football, and your father or your mother might have pushed more masculine things on you, and get out the kitchen, a man ain't supposed to be in the kitchen. You know, those things start when you're younger, and it gets into your mind, and it's hard to break those strongholds. We call them strongholds. It's hard to break them once you get in a marriage. And so those things are not true. I'm sorry. I mean, your mom, your dad probably are great people, but they're not true.
Right.
Them are people's opinions.
People's opinions. Everybody got one of those, baby girl.
Right. When you get in a marriage, you have to do what's best for your marriage. Thank you. What's best for your marriage. So in the case, you might have to switch roles, and it might just be temporarily.
Right.
But you might have to switch roles for a little bit. Like, for instance, if I'm working a 12-hour shift, it was times I would work. I'm a dental hygienist, so there's times I would work like 12 hours. So I'll be gone at 6 in the morning to maybe 6 at night.
Right.
And then you have to deal with traffic because we live in a bigger city.
Yes.
And so there had to be some times that he had to get the dinner started, get the kids off of the bus, maybe throw a load in the laundry for me.
Right.
And he's not the greatest cook, but sorry, I never put you out there. He's not the greatest cook, but he did what he knew how to do. He
Right.
know how to order. So, you know what I mean? I'm just saying.
I'm a good orderer.
Right. He's good with that.
True.
So what I'm saying is you don't have to be an amazing cook, because that's the first excuse. I don't know what I'm doing in the kitchen. I don't know how to cook. Well, we got YouTube. We got recipes on there, some simple stuff. We got a crock pot now.
Yeah.
Different things, you can just throw something in a crock pot. You
Right.
don't have to be a good cook to do that. And then if you don't want to do that, you got to order it.
True.
Order something. Have something ready for your wife when she gets home, or your husband, if they're working hard, working them 12-hour shifts like that.
It seemed like common sense, but we always say something here that we always say people do what they want to do.
Right.
And so if a person feels like, oh, I don't know how to do this, people do what they want to do.
Right.
And so if you don't want to do it, and you don't want to fit in a certain role that you need to be in, you feel me? Everybody can't be the head. Some people got to be the pinky nail. Some people got to be the big toe. Some people got to be the butthole. You feel
They're
me?
important. They all serve their purpose,
Yes.
so that we could get to where we need to get to.
Yes.
So, so for a little bit, we switch roles.
Right.
You know, or it might even just be a day. Like, just that day, I was working in 12 hours. So
You got what you got to do.
yeah.
You do, honestly. So as it relates to money, I found some of the biggest challenges for David is my management of the money. You know, I see some shoes, I go get the shoes, period. I felt like, hey man, I deserve it. I work hard. I don't get to, I'm gone 5 days. I'm working 12-hour shifts, really 14. I'm working 15-hour shifts sometimes. I'm working 15 hours. I'm seeing these shoes. How you deserve it and you poor? How, Sway? How? You don't got the answers.
Right.
You just don't got the answers. You don't deserve something and you poor. And what is poor? Okay, first of all, poor is a mentality. That's what poor is. Poverty is a mental sickness. It is a sickness, and you need help for that. Poor people say this, I don't know how I'm going to afford it. How can I afford, how can I afford that? That's poverty. Rich people be like, I don't got it right now, and that might be my truth. But how can I afford that?
Yeah, rich people say, how can I?
How can
They're
I
creating a
afford it?
plan. How can I get to that?
How can I get it? See, me and
Your
my...
thoughts create results.
Right. True. Your
words.
Your thoughts create your words, and
Right.
your words create your world. You have to create it.
Right.
And that's legitimately not a cliche. When Sharon and I first got together, we lived in an apartment complex. And that complex was small. It was super little. We got kicked out, had to go live with my grandma, who I love very dearly. But it set me back as a man emotionally. Because we had to live there for 6 months. 6 months. And I just wasn't, I realized I hadn't prepared myself enough to be able to take care of my wife. And at the time I had two children. I hadn't prepared myself. I had not been a good manager of my money. And I had heard it said all the time. Now, any given moment, you're not gonna catch me broke. And moreover, you're not gonna catch me sleeping when I should be working. There's a successful plan for work. It was set up in the beginning. He gave us 6 days for work and 1 day for rest. Probably, if you're looking at your bank account and it doesn't match because of your weekend spending, you got to think, how many days did I work this week? More importantly, how much time did I spend working on myself? What did I do? What book did I read? What video did I watch? How was I able to control my emotions? David has excellent control over his emotions. Once I got control over my emotions, then that helped me get control of my thoughts. Once I got control of my thoughts, I could start watching some of the stuff I was saying. Once I start watching some of the stuff I was saying, I start saying more positive things, more affirming things, more like I am handsome, more like I don't want to have to borrow no more money from nobody else.
Right.
That's a positive thing, even though I use, I don't want to, but it's a positive thing. I don't want to borrow money. Right. I don't want to be broke anymore. That's a very positive thing to say, even though I use the word don't. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to not wear what I don't want to wear. I don't want to not drive or not live where I don't want to live. So now I flip it. I live where I want to live now.
Right.
I wear what I want to wear now. I put on what I want to put on now. And it's because I first got control of my emotions. How do you get control over your emotions? There's one easy way, but it's the hardest way, period. And I don't want you to not listen to me. I want you to listen. The easiest way to get control of your emotions is a fast. That's the easiest way to get control of your emotions. A fast. But it also happens to be the hardest way. But it's the quickest way, I should say. It's the quickest way to get control of your emotions. Fasting. Water only. Now, me, I was a bigger guy. When Naomi was born last year, I weighed 315 pounds. Today, I weigh, under 230. So that's almost 100 pounds lost in right about a year. God bless you. Because I had to get control over my emotions. Right. So the quickest way to get control over your emotions is with fasting. That's the quickest way. It's not the easiest.
We'll have some more videos that will teach you how to fast the correct way.
Yes.
And what to do. But let's get back to this financing, because what about if you are a hard worker? Because I know a lot of people, if they work really hard,
I'm saying
they be at work all day, but they never had no money. Never had no money. They don't know where the money's going.
Right.
So they don't know how to manage their money. So we're talking about management now too. So sometimes, you spoke about, I want to dress the way I want to dress, and that's all good. I want to look good too. I like to look good, but you still have to. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. But you still have to manage your money. So if your bills is due, or furthermore, if you haven't invested in yourself for this month, you shouldn't be going out and buying expensive clothing, especially if you don't need it.
Right.
So I always teach my children, is this a need or is this a want? Every time they get ready to spend money, I said, is that a need or is this a want? And they'll tell you they hate it when I say that.
Yes.
But what it does is it starts to make them think about money, because I had an issue with money. Yes. And I don't want them to be like how I was.
Right.
And so I always ask them, is this a need or is this a want? Right. And then they make better choices. Like at first they want the want, of course.
Of course.
But then when they sit down and think about it, they're like, I really don't need that, especially when I make them spend their own money.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't think I need that.
Oh, when it was my money, you was getting ready to go buy the J's, though.
Like, you know what? I'll take those, $19.99
Now it's
Converses.
your money. You want the Converses. You right.
I take the clearance. I go to the clearance.
Now you want the Batmans and Robins.
So what we're doing is we're training their minds to think differently.
Yes.
So when I was growing up, and I love my family dearly.
Dearly.
But food was a big thing.
Yeah.
Food was like the all in all. If you was happy, let's go celebrate. We're going to Red Lobster. Like black people like Red
That's
Lobster.
how I got the 315 pounds.
I don't know what it is about Red Lobster.
It's Beyonce. Thank you, Beyonce.
But we love Red Lobster.
Yes, we do.
So that was like the thing. It was like, we going to Red Lobster. We about to celebrate.
Right.
and
hilarious.
When you upset, we're going to go to Red Lobster. We're going to eat this off. You know what I mean? Like, food was everything. Like, it was like how you cured everything.
Right.
You sick, get some ginger ale, get some chicken noodle soup. Like, it always goes back to food. Like, and so for me, I didn't have a problem, like, buying clothes. Mine was eating.
Right.
Like, I would just go to restaurants.
And
I would go to restaurants in the morning. I would go to Paneras in the morning.
Yes.
I would go to Chipotle for lunch. I would go in McDonald's and snack. And then for dinner, I would go out to an expensive, extravagant restaurant. So
I'm talking about, it's going to be $50
J.
a plate in
Gilbert's,
here.
the J. Gilbert,
It's $50 a plate.
J. Alexander's, and we're talking fine
Like
dining.
we had a problem for a little bit.
Yes.
For real.
And it was food. We would just eat.
And they probably don't know what J. Gilbert is.
Yeah,
but if
J.
you don't
Gilbert
know,
is,
now you know.
It's the top of the line.
Look it up.
Yeah, look it up. It is actually good.
It's nice.
But
Steaks are
so now I went from McDonald's type of eating to Chipotle type of eating to like I want J. Gilbert type of eating because like once you have it, it gets really addictive. It's like an addiction. It's
like the feeling that the restaurants give you.
Right. And so now I'm like, I don't want to go there. We want to go to top line restaurants, you know? So now we're really spending money.
Right.
So we look at we're time to pay our bills. We're like, we don't have any money to pay our bills.
Because I ate it.
And we make pretty decent money. So we're like, what the heck are we doing with our money?
I ate it all.
So we sat down, me and him both, got some paper out. Sometimes you gotta go old fashioned, get the old fashioned paper out.
I ate my money.
I pulled up, we have a couple of accounts. I pulled up the accounts. He put up his account and our joint account. And we looked at what we were doing with our money.
Right.
And food. And then on top of going out to eat, we go to the grocery store. We spend like $200 at the grocery store.
And be throwing stuff away.
Look at our refrigerator, stuff be old. We don't even eat it all.
Be throwing it away.
If you look at our trash, our kids was wasting food. We was wasting food. And it was horrible. And so we really had to get control of ourselves. So we fast from going out to eating. Because there are other ways to fast.
Amen.
So
Sharon can't do the type of fast that I do because I do fast like from food. You know what I mean? So when we looked at our statements, we had to realize what is causing this. It was the stress in our life. And stress is a physical chemical on your body, but it's also produced from the feelings, the emotions that you have.
Right.
How can I get my emotions under control so that I can then get my thoughts under control? So that I can get my words under control and so that I can get my actions under control. It all starts with fasting. So she was fasting from restaurants, and of course, as she fasts, I fast. I want to make my baby feel good. And also, I love to eat. Anybody know me? No. Like, not only do I love to eat, but I eat quickly. I don't care how good it is. She like to savor stuff. We'd be at the table 2 hours. I'm not that guy.
I like to it's paprika in here, salt, pepper. They use garlic.
You can just put mine in the doggy bowl and just bring it. I want all my stuff mixed together. Like
I'm in love with food. Like I like the top of the line.
It's an emotion.
Yeah.
It's an emotion. So I feel like, okay, so now I got to get myself an emotion. So now when I started fasting from food, physically fasting from food, and I'm almost down 100 whole pounds. I think, guaranteed, by the end of this year, I would have lost 100 pounds. When Naomi was born, November the 10th of last year, I weighed 315. And so today, I'm at 230 pounds. Right. And it's because, number one, I shift my focus. My focus now is me. And I had to even leave my family for a minute because y'all not going to have me around if I don't get this together.
Right.
So I had to shift my focus and just focus on me for a little bit. And I was exercising every day. So now I can exercise. I mean, I hope you don't think I'm about playing. I can exercise for 4 hours straight. And I'm talking about intense.
He has.
And I mean intensely.
Right.
And I give, and for that, I give my body a rest. I'm not doing that every single day. But so the weight loss fixed my emotional problems, that anxiety, all that stuff I was ignoring. You know what I mean? It was coming out while I was exercising, while I was hitting the boxing bag, while I was jump roping. And I'm you probably won't see it, but I'm still a big guy. You know what I mean? Like muscular, big, and I still have a bunch of body fat.
Right.
But, I can jump rope like nobody's business. Like if you ever see me jump rope, you feel like, how, Sway? How? This dude's like a graceful ballerina. Like, it's excellent. But I had to get that under control. So now that I have my physical body in order, it helps. And that stress and anxiety, it just went away. It just went away. And so now I have more control over my emotions.
Right.
And so now, then I started getting more control over my thoughts. How do you do that? So we discussed how to get control over your emotions. And this is all relates to money.
Right.
Because the scripture says, and not to make this a church show, but it is Sunday. The scripture says that, where your treasure is, or where your heart is, that's where your treasure will be. And what is the heart? What does he mean? Where your emotions are.
Right.
Love is an emotion.
Yes.
Love is an emotion.
Right.
Well, that's where your treasure will be. Well, my emotions were all over the place. They were all over the place. And so my
That's
money
where the money was all over
scattered
the place.
all over the place.
Right.
And so once I got my emotions together, now I got to get my mentality together. So I have to start reading. And I don't really like to read. I don't like it. But we live in a day and age where you don't necessarily have to read. You can watch a book, or you can audio book if that's you, or you can watch videos.
Right.
Like they have full length videos. It's just like reading a book. Mm-hmm. So I got my emotions together by fasting. I got my cognitive thinking ability by reading, by watching videos, and then I started speaking better automatically. Once my emotions were better and my thought processes started to line up, my speech became and is a lot more positive.
Right.
Because when you fat, I'm telling you, I suffer with chronic fatigue as well. Like I could sleep for 18 hours. 18. Yeah. I'm not even being funny.
Then I was angry, and if you do that, your other partner's gonna be angry because they feel like I'm out here working hard. I come home, I'm working hard.
When I left you to sleep,
like,
and now you sleep again.
Right.
When I come home, it's because my emotions are all over the place, and my emotions was affecting my body.
Right. It
was affecting my body. My body. I was almost a dead man walking, and even the 6 hours that I was woke, I wasn't woke. If you know what I mean. I was a dead man.
Right.
I was a dead man, and my integrity suffered. Everything suffered because I couldn't get my emotions under control. There were underlying skeletons in my closet that I was refusing to address, and some of them were just not even big things. But I don't know if you ever seen a oak tree, a seed. It starts from an acorn. An acorn, small, or the mustard seed. And just it starts from small stuff. You plant that, and all of a sudden you wake up and be like, "Where did all these acorns come from?"
Right.
How did you? Now you got to cut roots out in your life. The root of bitterness, you got to cut it out in your life, and only way you can do that is by doing your work.
Right.
Fasting, reading, being open and acceptable. Find somebody for you. Find somebody that you want to listen to, and thank you for listening to us. That's why we coming out here too. So because we are, getting ourselves mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, sexually well. Even these broadcasts have helped us tremendously.
Yeah, it's helping
us
us too.
Man, it's helping me.
Right.
So yeah, I can't help you without being whole in an area. And we don't like to talk about stuff that we're not strong in. I don't know anything about nuclear physicism, so you likely will be the last time that this ever comes up in a conversation, because I don't know. You know what I mean?
So for me, I was searching myself. Why am I spending so much money on food?
Right.
And I started to realize that I was really stressed out at my job. My job was like really stressing me out. Mm-hmm. And so I would pacify myself with food because that's what I've learned when I was younger, that food will make you happy.
Right.
So I would let me get to Starbucks before I go into work.
Right.
I got to deal with these people. I got to deal, And so that's what I would do. Get Starbucks. But Starbucks add up. That's like $3.
They shouldn't call it Starbucks. They should call it $5.
Right. And
it's not funny.
So I would be doing that every day. So that adds up. If you do the math, that
MAF.
Yeah.
Do the math.
Almost $300 a month.
Yeah.
If you're doing that every day.
Right.
So So once I decided that, I noticed it really started to set in when I stopped working.
Right.
So I have not been going out to eat. I look at my bank account balance, and it's a lot bigger.
Larger.
And I'm not even working, so I'm saving more money.
Right.
When I'm staying at home versus not working. I'm not telling you to quit your job, but what I'm saying is,
if it ain't time for you, don't do that.
What I'm saying is,
know who you
my
are.
habits. It was my bad habits.
Work your work.
My bad habits stopped because I wasn't stressed out. Right. And so I have to find out another way of dealing with stress now. So, but what was I going to say? Oh, and then once you save the money, the next step is investing the money.
Yeah.
And there's different ways of investing, and we'll probably talk about that in another video.
Because you can hear the little ones up. And she's a crazy time. All the time. That's my bill all the time. But we're gonna, get up, and hopefully, if you decide not to go to church today, I want you to go to church because there's a power in the place that you are, and we are church people.
Right.
So get up and go, get there if by any means necessary, because it's necessary. Somebody's there waiting for you, and not just there to help you, but you assigned to somebody who could help you. But if you decide not to go today, then hopefully you will feel just as fulfilled. Today we talked about marriage and money, and we talked about the principles of it. The principles of it is whatever your heart is, that's where your treasure is. And what is a heart? What does he mean by that? Wherever your emotions are,
right.
However you feel. So if your feelings are all over the place, I can guess your bank balance within a couple $100, period. So that's where I was. And then once I got my emotions together, I got my thoughts together, my words became, are more positive, and then it's reflected in my actions, and you wouldn't be able to guess my bank balance. No, we are not millionaires, and please don't ask me for no money, because I know how to tell people no, from the family to the friends.
We're not millionaires, but we're stable, and we're now investing in ourselves.
Yes.
We're at that stage in our lives.
Right.
So please share this with someone.
Share.
If you know someone that struggles with finances or just marital problems, because finances is big in marriage.
Right. It's the number one reason why people get divorced.
Right,
man.
right.
The number one, I thought it would be sex or cheating.
Right.
It's money.
Right. So
it's
share
money.
our video. Go to my blogs. I write about finances. We go into more details. We talk about health on the blog.
Right.
So that's www.sharonlucas.com.
Right.
And please subscribe so that we can have your email and we can be able to reach out to you for future events that is going to be happening. Okay.
You said, I feel you though, but you the trucker though. I need a couple of dollars from you, all them bikes and what you got. You know what I mean? So we getting ready to get up out of here. So until next time, peace and love. We'll do something a little more raunchy tonight. You know what I mean? In the morning we try to keep it cool, but at night we're gonna be talking about that duder. You know what I mean? So all right, until next time, we love y'all. Peace.
Yes.